hit him.
Touchdown, Deebo in the slot. This is my end zone. Give me everything you got. Defense, hit him with that Cosa Nostra. Quan Alexander, this dance, Nick both sides. 49er Empire, 49er Empire. This is for the fan base, die hard, set by. Stand up, 4-9 to the heart, baby. Hold on, back in Candlestick Park.
So if you're telling me Armstead, who's a better outside player than he is inside, Boast is great inside or outside, and you have a Dee Ford who's, you can also, if you remember in the playoffs, we saw him line up over the guard. So he can abuse guards and tackles on the outside. So, I mean, really, the sky's the limit. You know, we have some serious depth, and what I'm actually looking forward to see is Ronald Blair coming back. I think he's got a lot of versatility as well.
Are you listening? Damn.
Ronbo Sports here, representing the Niner Empire organization worldwide. Australia, New Zealand, UK, Germany, France, South America, Mexico, and from Hawaii, all across the USA. Brother, going to the East Coast, Virginia, New Jersey, New York, Philly, where is Yamin? And down Dade County way, Florida, and Trans, I see you in Atlanta, GA. Fam, 49ers football, the sun never sets on the Niner Empire. Fam, if you're like me, you know the ongoing topics, the two main matters right now. It's going to be a long, hot summer. I'm hoping these things get resolved, but there's going to be continued red-hot debate sparked from these issues. So that's why I say, you know, if you're like me, you're looking for that comfort zone, that place where I can go to smile. This is why I love talking 49ers football, fam. And I was delighted today to find out Jimmy G. Yeah. Jimmy G's out in Spartanville, San Jose State. He's still running drills with the receivers. I bet they're doing that every day. They don't post up every day, but they're out there all the time. He's out there, and Jalen Hurd. Yeah. Hurd's been busy these last few weeks, and he's out there working out with Jimmy. Juice was out there working out with him today from the photos I caught. And maybe you saw some others. I did also see, of course, Kendrick Bourne. Bourne is a man on a mission. You saw he posted up his entire agenda for the offseason. It looks pretty serious to me. And for a guy who's smiling all the time and look like he's not even serious, Kendrick Bourne looks extremely serious right now. And he continues to smile. That's what I like about Kendrick. The boy's out there having fun and getting work done. And you can at me all you want to. I've said some things on social media. I ain't gonna repeat them now because you'll come after me now. I've said some things about Kendrick. My predictions for Kendrick, I'm not playing. I'm serious. I got a feeling Kendrick Bourne becomes the man this year. And then you're gonna say, well, if that's the case, we're in trouble. No, it's not. The other guy's gonna do the job, but I got a feeling Kendrick's gonna be that leader guy that's gonna make everybody say, wow, I guess Ronbo was right about Kendrick. You know, I've got no shame. And also, you keep on looking through things. You know one thing I do wonder about, before I mention, where is Deebo Samuel? I looked all over the place for what the latest news on Deebo is. And we've not heard from him for weeks as far as working out with Jimmy. He acts like as if he's not going to be able to make it right now. But I did check him out. Why? You know that Deebo's only he's two guys behind. George Kittle is like number one with breaking tackles. You knew that. But Deebo's only a step behind him. I don't think Deebo may have not gotten as many snaps and opportunities as George either. Deebo, up and coming. Deebo, where you at, man? Get on in and work out. I do have to lighten up on people working out with Jimmy, though, because like Dre pointed out here about a week ago during one of our daily fan gatherings, you know, everybody can't come in and work out with Jimmy G, especially in California where things are a little expensive. The guys that are out there working out with Jimmy right now, they've been paid a few times and they can afford to do these kind of things. So I can't get mad at people for not showing up to hang out with Jimmy G and work out. Because they're not getting paid by anybody to come in and work with Jimmy. The club is not picking up the tag on accommodations and things that you're going to need if you're going to come into town. So, yeah, okay, I ain't mad at them. I just will be glad, however, when they finally open up the facility and give the guys a green light to go. And again, like I'm saying, about the situation we've got with COVID-19, you got to wait. And you heard about we're going to be down to 2 games going into I think that was just brought out today. It's been brought out that there's only going to be 2 games, preseason games going into the season. They're just going to run 2 games, preseason games, and go right into the season. So they cut it a little short. See, my only problem with that is this is not Ayuk and any other of our other rookies, Warner, especially on offense, because the defense, I think they can fall into that kind of quickly. But with Kyle's offense, it does take some time, and the rookies aren't going to be brought along like I wish they could be. So if Ayuk is in the classroom situation with Kyle holding the virtual classrooms, he's probably picking it up, but it's not that easy to comprehend. We've seen too many players on the offense and maybe getting held back due to the fact that they don't fully comprehend what Kyle Shanahan is cooking. And speaking of which, I really enjoy anytime somebody says something about Kyle Shanahan being a genius, I tune in. As soon as I see the title, click. And they're right. Kyle Shanahan is one of the main reasons why this team is doing well. You know what was really eye-opening? The fact of the matter is the 49ers, since Kyle's been there, are not spending a lot of money on offensive players. Now, the offensive line, of course, is going to get a substantial amount of pay, especially with Trent Williams now. And Joe Staley was getting paid pretty well, too. But Trent Williams is going to have to be compensated properly as well. You need the trenches to be strong on both offense and defense, and the 49ers are going to take care of that. But you look at some of the skill players. You look around, if you're not a rookie, now Deebo Samuel is a good player. He's one of our lead role players, right? He's on a rookie contract. You look at Kendrick Bourne, they got him on a 1-year contract. He's not getting paid a whole lot just yet, but he's going to try to change that this year, right? Now, who's the third wide receiver? Trent Taylor is still on a rookie contract. That's going to have to be changed soon, too. But he's going to have to come in and prove himself. And there's other guys. We got a lot of 1-year juices on a 1-year contract. And whether it's kind of expensive, but still. And Jimmy G's like the highest paid guy. And he needs to be because the fact is he's a quarterback. That's how your offense is going to roll. The wide receivers, the running back room, you look at Mostert, he should be paid more. He's not. But you look at TC, he's getting paid not bad. So the 49ers are doing really well. You got Jerick McKinnon took a pay cut, so he's not expensive. With Kyle Shanahan, my point being is Kyle Shanahan could take assembly of guys as long as they can comprehend what Kyle is cooking. As long as they can comprehend what Kyle's cooking, they're going to excel. You got to have a couple of guys with extraordinary talents like George Kittle. And this is why I say that, because George Kittle is not a guy that you can just anybody replace. This is why he has to be paid. So you've got a nucleus. And going forward, I would say you got to keep George and Jimmy, of course. Mostert is going to continue to do what he does. And I got a feeling he's going to be a mainstay for as long as Kyle can have him. Because he does exactly what he needs to do within that zone blocking scheme. He does it really well. McKinnon, if he shows what Kyle thinks he's going to show, he's going to be around for a while. I can go on talking about the offense all day long and Kyle Shanahan's genius. But I'm going to hold up here because I want to talk to you about some things too. Like Dee Ford. I mean, the guy's considered one of the NFL best coming off the edge. And we're going to look for it. Hey, what's up, MC?
What's up? We're picking on Dante because he like cats.
Ooh.
I thought we was bros.
MC, we are bros. You know this? What?
Y'all need to back up bullying on Dante about cats, bruh. Not cool at all.
MC, you know what? I'm in full agreement, man. Come on, man. You go. MC, come on, man. We okay, right? Is we? Oh, man. And see, you guys did that. Okay, that's it for me. From now on, when you start in about Dante and cats, I was being a hypocrite. I like cats, okay? I'm done. Next time you start pulling me, I'm not going to get, you can do it all you want to. I am not going to I'm not going to get involved. Now you got my favorite guy mad at me. You notice how I know how to blame you. What I'm going to say about Dee Ford, though, is this. Fans Fam, if Dee Ford is ready to roll, and I understand that knee procedure, I'm not sure how well or effective it's going to be, but it sounds like he's doing okay. If Dee Ford is coming off that edge for 15 or 16 weeks into the playoffs, there is no force on earth that is going to stop that defensive line from totally dominating the NFL. You know, I want to talk to you about this and a few other things. Let's go to our cam right now and let's talk some football, Niner football with you. Fam, I got Kev. You've heard Kev call into the program on different occasions, but we just actually call him Kevin on the air. But he's also on Twitter. If you want to follow Kevin, you should. It's SF, S smaller case F, larger-case NINER, lowercase NINER 49. The reason I've watched him on Twitter for a while, and there he is posing with Jerry Rice. I said, what? That's not photoshopped. He's really playing golf with Jerry Rice. Hey, just to introduce yourself a little bit, Kev, talk to me about that. But what's going on with you and the 49ers and some of the other connections you know about?
Yeah, I've been a 49er fan my whole life. My family, we've been Niner fans since the Kezar Stadium days in downtown San Francisco. So we've been rocking the red and gold and bleeding red and gold for, better part of 60 years now. My grandfather and my dad were huge fans, so they just taught me the way, and 49ers faithful for life.
Forever. I love
Forever.
it.
Of course, till I die. Bleed red and gold till I die.
Let's get right down to it, Kev. Let's talk some Niners. Kev, Dee Ford, we were all complaining and crying. Dee Ford, he's got to do something about the knee. John Lynch comes in and says, he'll be fine. All he needs is some rest. What? All the time, John wasn't telling anything, or he was unaware of the fact that Dee Ford, even as he was speaking, was getting that knee taken care of. And it's unusual for tendonitis to have any procedures done to it. And just like John was thinking, you're supposed to just leave it alone and it gets better. But Dee is in a 5% of people who actually do have to have a procedure. He went and got it done. And according to a Dr. Michael Banfi, it looks good. He's going to be fine. We're not going to have to deal with his annual, I can't play my leg. It's this time of year I go through. Kev, that defense with Dee Ford healthy is going to be ridiculous. Kev, what is that defense going to look like? What do you think his defense going to look like this year with a healthy Dee Ford in it? Are we talking top 1, 2, 3?
Well, interesting. I'll start with the cleanup surgery that he had. It's funny that we're talking about this because I actually sold orthopedic medical devices. When we talk about a cleanup, it could be a lot of different things. I know, looking at the details, he might have had some hamstrings harvested or some of the inside of his knee harvested, and typically with that, if you're going to be harvesting some graft or something inside the knee or around that area, you're going to be using it for something else, whether it's like an ACL reconstruction or a medial ligament or MPFL or a PCL ligament. What would make sense is if he actually just got meniscus cleanup used with like a shaver or something like that. Which would make sense because sometimes when there's a lot of tissue and there's a lot of stuff going on in there, they just want to clean it up so the joints are working correctly.
Right.
The only risk is with that, and I'm not a doctor, but clinically what I've seen is that typically if there's more bone-on-bone apposition, there's a higher risk for arthritis down the road. So it may help him in the short term. It may help him with his quickness, his get off a little bit. He may make it through the season. He may play 14, 15, 16 games, but it may not be great for him long term. I'm glad that our contract with them is only a couple more years because, he's gonna, he's 29 already. So, at this point, you got to be concerned about his longevity in the NFL. So I think he did the surgery to keep his years in the NFL higher, but I think long term he's going to suffer from it.
Yeah, and his contract has got 2 more years in it?
Yeah, he signed like a 5-year deal, but it was really like a 3-year contract, some team options. So, but in terms of if he's healthy, the sky's the limit for this defense. I think, losing Buckner was definitely, it was a big loss, but it wasn't as big of a loss as if we, lost somebody else like Bosa for some freakish reason.
Don't even jest.
The great thing about Kinlaw is he's going to be able to take on double teams in the NFL and possibly beat them, which means we're going to have one-on-one matchups all across the line. So if you're telling me Armstead, who's a better outside player than he is inside, Boast is great inside or outside, and you have a Dee Ford who's you can also, if you remember in the playoffs, we saw him line up over the guard. So he can abuse guards and tackles on the outside. So I mean, really, the sky's the limit. We have some serious depth, and what I'm actually looking forward to see is Ronald Blair coming back. I think he's got a lot of versatility as well. A lot of things that they did on defense when he was in the game. A lot of defensive plays were negative plays or tackles, behind the line for loss. So if he comes back from his ACL injury and, we can just rotate these guys and they're going to stay fresh throughout the season. And, we could be looking at 1, 2, or 3 in sacks this year as a team. I really believe that.
Oh God! And what if? And we've had like a couple guys. We picked up a couple of new guys, and then of course, what was our 5th round pick, 4th round pick 2 years ago? We've got Julian Taylor. He's another guy that's healing up as well, and also the other big guy we got that squats like 800 pounds.
Contavious Street.
Contavious. What if all those guys? Because we need, and in fact, it would happen too, Kev, because this is a year where we need to reduce the roster, right? It has to be done for a number of reasons. But all these guys come together and just really look solid. That's actually gonna present a problem. But the thing is, if they all are solid, that rotation is gonna be strong. We're not gonna fade in the stretch like we did last year due to lack of personnel. It's a lot of things could just really come together just to make this defense just ridiculous.
Yeah, the strength of this defense is, I would definitely agree with you, is the defensive line. We're going to, let Street and Taylor come back healthy and Givens is balling out.
Okay, I forgot about him.
Here's the problem, Ron, but we're going to have to cut a good player. So if we cut a good player and they go to a team, the Seahawks love picking up players that we cut.
Oh, yeah.
So what if Julian Taylor has a midseason injury, but unfortunately we have to cut him because Givens is balling out. We may have to see Taylor later in the year, and we know how he plays. We drafted him, but it's just somebody we don't want to face, So
exactly.
it's a blessing and a curse to have so many great players on the defensive line, honestly.
Well, so. You know how they do it though, Kevin. We will have like 20 guys on the IR. So in case, and there'll be those guys that will become eligible at.
They're smart.
Yeah,
the Niners are smart. Yeah, they're smart.
Great with that. So that defense. So I predict that defense, and no matter what happens in the secondary, that front line defense is going to take care of everything. They make everything easier for everybody on the field. So yeah, I got them ranked up really high. Kev, George Kittle's been on everybody's mind, and as some arguments have been brought up about George Kittle and how well he's been doing, is it due to George Kittle alone, or is it due to Kyle Shanahan's play calling and designs that make George Kittle excel to levels that probably no other tight end's ever going to do now or in the future? Is it Shanahan? Is it his magic? And in that case, can we say to George Kittle, well, George, listen, you are probably benefiting from Kyle Shanahan, so you need to take this amount of money. I, for one, want George Kittle to get all the money he can get. But should there be something go wrong, where would the emphasis slide on the offense? Because right now, George is almost a focal point of the passing game. We've got a lot of new bodies around. What do you predict on that end? And how will the 49ers compensate for George's absence? I can't believe I haven't said that. I've been saying, don't even joke. But what if, hypothetically, you might as well start thinking these ways. What are we going to do differently if George Kittle's not in that offensive attack?
Well, first of all, you can't replace a guy like George Kittle. It goes without saying. The guy has just as many pancake blocks as a left tackle, and he has the most receiving yards on our team consistently, at least the last 2 seasons. You can't replace him. But, where this offense could potentially go, for some reason, if he held out or we traded him, which is the worst case scenario because he's my favorite player on the team. I could see us running a lot of more shotgun, not spread, but more of like a 2 running back set. And Jerick McKinnon's coming back, and he's probably our best pass catching running back. I could see Deebo Samuel being utilized a lot more out of the backfield. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting because George Kittle is the focal point of the offense. If you remember last year when Nick Mullins was quarterbacking most of the season, and actually I think there was a play against San Diego where C.J. Beathard connected with him on like an 85-yard touchdown. That play was particularly schemed because Shanahan was calling it a touchdown before the play even happened. Okay, so for one, Shanahan is an absolute genius, okay? But you also have to give credit to the player because a guy that size who's 6'5", 250, running 4.5, I mean, that's just talent. That's just athletic ability and
Freakish.
talent. So I would say, I can't really bend it one way or the other. It's really 50-50. I mean, I do think Kittle could do well in some other systems. Across the league, like Green Bay, tight ends generally do well in Green Bay.
True.
New England. So, even Philadelphia, Zach Ertz has had, a great 4 or 5 seasons. So, I mean, there are other systems that he would do well in. The problem is he's such a great blocker. He almost acts like an extra tackle, on the edge.
Absolutely.
As well as a pass-catching threat. So, he's really a one-of-a-kind player. And honestly, if they were going to go for a bigger money deal, I could see them potentially doing more of like a 3-year with a 1-year, 4th-year option deal, maybe worth like 75 to 80 million with 40 million guaranteed. You can't give a player 20 million over 5 or 6 years unless they're a quarterback.
Yeah.
And even Jimmy G's contract is, he's only, I think he's less than like 3 or 4 million on the dead cap. So I mean,
right.
It's going to be difficult to construct a contract for Kittle that makes sense long term for the team, especially with all the free agents. I mean, our secondary is everybody's a free agent, and then we have guys like Ronald Blair who are on a 1-year deal, and so Daniel Brunskill's on a 1-year deal. So if we can fit it in, and if the cap goes up next season where it fits, then yeah, you pay him. But I would do it more short term. And he's older than you actually think he is. He's going to be turning 27 this year. So, and with the amount of impact that he puts on his body with blocking, and when you have 2 or 3 DBs trying to tackle him, your body's going to take a little bit of a beating. So if they did more of a short-term deal and gave him more money then, I'd be okay with it. But if it was going to be a 5 or 6 year deal, I'd say maximum 15 to 16 million a year.
Well, that's such a good point. You're right. George Kittle, you can't go giving him too long of a deal because of the fact of the stress he's taking on his body right now for the way he plays. And like you're saying, George is about as physical a player as you're ever going to see. Even now, you've got him out there. He's being held together with duct tape, and he's still going out there and playing hardcore football. And how long can that last? 3-year, 3-year contract sounds about right. He hits that 30 mark with the wear and tear he's going to take between now and then. I mean, this is a guy that leads the league in yak, just about behind a couple of players maybe. But George Kittle is going to continue to play George Kittle football. That is something that's going to actually weigh on Parag's mind, probably John Lynch and everybody else in that front office. I didn't even thought about that.
Ronbo. Think about this. Let's say he signs a 3-year deal, 60 million, 35 million guaranteed, right? Okay. He gets the payday. He's 30 years old. Okay. I'm just going to be optimistic. I'm going to say that with this team, we're going to win one of the next 3 to 4 Super Bowls. Yep. It's inevitable. We were there in the 4th quarter. We had it. It's going to happen at some point. So if we win that Super Bowl, he's aging. He's had, a great 5 or 6 year career. And, then we have to pay guys like Bosa and Kinlaw. And, if Dre Greenlaw balls out, he's going to want money. Warner's going to want money. McGlinchey is going to want, if he becomes a Pro Bowl tackle, he's going to want a lot of money. We have Trent Williams.
You got to renew Jimmy G.
You got to renew Jimmy G, exactly. So he could potentially, if we win a Super Bowl and he has that, kind of that relaxed moment, he might, at that, when he's 30, might take a little bit less money to help re-sign everybody else. But right now he's in the prime of his career. He should take the most money he can. I mean, he's a team player, but money's pretty good too. So
yeah, I can imagine him going the Gronk path. I can see George, and you mentioned 30, him saying I'm considering re-signing, and they go through that thing where because George and Gronk, they seem to be going down the same path. Gronk's got all kind of options to do other than playing football at this point, and he took them. And George Vince McMahon will pay him incredible amounts of money. There's probably all kind of sponsors that want to get him involved in things. So George takes a year hiatus, and I can see that happening actually. And in about 2023, 2025, he comes racing back to the 49ers or something like that for one more year if the 49ers are still smoking hard. So, and which leads me to the question, what level of success are you expecting this year, Kev, for the 49ers? Since you just mentioned one of the next 3 to 4 years, since the window is open, we can predict the 49ers are going to take at least one of those Lombardis. Amplify on that a little more.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, within the next 5 years, we'll be holding at least one. And the reason why is because Jed York, I used to post on Facebook to have him sell the team. He has no idea what he's doing.
All of us.
He's just a young owner who, he just has a lot of this money, and he had this buddy thing going on with Trent Baalke, and thank God we got rid of him.
Oh God, yes.
But the culture and the people and honestly, Ronbo, they also stand for the right reasons too, and people are going to want to go play for them. Especially with cap going up, we can probably afford to re-sign everybody. We may not be able to re-sign everybody, 1 or 2 players, but we might still be able to attract free agents just because the culture is so great, and they put together a great team. But Ronbo, if you look at, I was thinking about this earlier today, if you look at every position on the team, we improved.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm telling you guys, if you haven't watched tape on Brock Rudder, I think by the end of this year or next year, if we still keep Mullins, he'll be quarterback number 2 behind Jimmy.
Whoa! Okay, because I've not watched enough of him. That's a huge endorsement. He's that good, because Mullins is tough.
Okay, so we improved the quarterback, right? Because we're getting rid of Beathard and Rudder's absolutely better. We're improving the running back position because we're getting Jarek McKinnon back. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I put some money down that Salvin Ahmed is going to be better than Matt Breida if he makes the team. Okay.
A lot of people back that up.
So, and then Kyle Juszczyk fullback he's going to do what he's going to do. But then the depth at wide receiver, we added Brandon Ayuk, okay, and Juwan Jennings. Kyle Shanahan is clearly going for physicality on his offense. Okay, it's going to take 2 to 3 players to take down any one of our receivers. Okay. Yep. So just adding Brandon Ayuk with that kind of dynamic and yak ability in my opinion, is improving the wide receiver room. Obviously on the offensive line, we got Trent Williams. Okay. That goes without saying. He's probably going to be the best left tackle in the NFL this next season. Okay. I mean, he hasn't played. His body's rested. He looks motivated. And he wanted to come play for us. And, he's played on a bad team his whole career. So he wants to win. So defensive line, obviously, I think we got better with Kinlaw. I love Buckner, but Kinlaw brings just a different dynamic. He's just a mauler.
So many people feel that way. I got to get into this. I can't wait to watch what happens next.
and he's quick, and a man that size should not be able to move that quick with his hands. So I'm just going to leave the defensive line where it is. We talked about them. But the linebacking core, with Quan coming back healthy, we could say that he was a different player last year in the playoffs. So we're getting an improved version of himself, right? And then the acquisition of the guy, I forget what college he went to, but I think his name is Jonas Griffith.
The undrafted free agent, right? And you're right.
I like Azeez Al-Shaair, but I think Jonas Griffith is going to come in and play special teams and run down on kickoffs, and he's going to turn some heads, and I think he's going to make the linebacking core. So, and then where does that leave us? The secondary. The secondary, the way I see that they've improved is that they've got more experience. We're bringing back the same guys, and a couple of undrafted free agents that could potentially make the team. I think Maiden is a guy that could potentially make the team, and I think AC is somebody who can also make the team. So, Ronbo, we've improved every position in the offseason, which is very hard to do on a team that made it to the Super Bowl.
Exactly. And picking up Javon is just ridiculous. What is your feeling about Finke? He seems to be all the rave lately. Everybody's talking about him. We got Trent Taylor there, and people are calling Finke maybe Trent Taylor light. And I've seen Fink, and I really think he's he looks pretty dynamic. At Notre Dame, he was smoking. Well, what do you think of?
You know, a lot of people are comparing Taylor to Finke, and you know, they are the same type of player. Yeah. But honestly, I think with Wes Welker being one of the best slot wide receivers in NFL history, when he was in his prime, I honestly think that Finke is going to be taking Richard James's position. I think James is going to be cut. I think Kyle's going to keep Finke and Trent Taylor as well. Because they're going to like that dynamic. I mean, Trent Taylor can't play every slot down, you know, so they're going to want to have some versatility in there. And I believe Chris Finke will be able to pick up the playbook faster than Richie James. And I loved Richie. Everything he did on the field was positive when he was out there. But, you know, just picking up that playbook, for some reason for him might have just been a little bit more difficult than it was for, like, Deebo. Or, you know, I think Jalen Hurd's going to pick up the playbook well this year. He's sitting a year out. So, I mean, in my opinion, I think Fink is going to make the team over Richie, but they might both get cut because our wide receiver depth is so deep.
You know, the CBA has now allowed for players to stay on the practice squad, and they can be rotated in on a weekly basis and be put back on the practice squad without having to clear waivers. I got a feeling the 49ers are going to they're going to play that as hard as they can to the maximum. I got a feeling he probably makes that practice squad. You'll see him every other week. Jennings is another guy. I know Kyle wants to keep him, but I'm wondering if you count down to the guys we're going to pretty much, you can assume they're going to make the team. There is, depending upon how many they're going to keep on that room, there is that possibility. Yeah. If you put Jennings and Fink on the practice squad, that's a huge risk, though.
I'll tell you, the one problem with Juwan Jennings is he can't separate very well. He doesn't have top end speed. But I will say, if you go watch some of his games against the toughest SEC teams, it takes about 4 Georgia Bulldogs to pull him down. That's all I'm going to say. And he has one crackback block on an outside run where he just straight up lays out a guy. I don't remember if it's Alabama or Auburn, but it's just the guy. It's
on the highlight reel.
He's on a scary dude. That's all I'm going to say.
What Kev's talking about, check out Juwan Jennings highlights. It's entertainment in itself. You know what? Here's the thing. You can't try to, anytime you try to anticipate what Kyle Shanahan's thinking, you're always wrong. Kyle does things that are sometimes really unorthodox, that sometimes in anyone with normal sense thinks it's just, why, Kyle? You know, there's some things that happen up, but normally the end result is right. And he'll stand behind whatever he says because the media always waits for him as soon as he gets to that podium, and they'll ask him questions about it, and he'll back it up, and he'll say, I'll do the same thing again. So, you know, he's an interesting person to watch. But I do see Juwan Jennings and Fink being the guys that are not leaving necessarily, but could struggle to make that starting 6 guys. And I figure it's going to be 6 or so. Do you think it's going to be beyond 6, or is it going to be 7?
Well, you know, it's going to be depending on how many people we keep on the defense. You know, I think we're going to keep 3 quarterbacks, probably 4 running backs, 6 to 7 wide receivers, 7 linemen. You know, so I know he likes to keep more numbers on offense because he's an offensive-minded coach. Yeah. So, you know, we'll see what happens. The only thing I will also say about Jennings is he played quarterback in high school.
Well, that's right. I forgot about that. That's right.
He expands Kyle Shanahan's playbook for him to be able to possibly throw some passes, maybe in the red zone, maybe some trick plays. So there's, I think, going to be some more creativity next year as well.
Because we saw that last year with Emmanuel Sanders, and I fell off my chair. I couldn't believe. I didn't know Emmanuel Sanders could throw I didn't know he could throw not that far and that accurate. I said,
yeah, he did it in Denver a couple times.
I said, really? I had no idea. Well, you do know that also Jake McKinnon can quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was Matty B's quarterback when they were in Georgia.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, Kyle Shanahan, he's got a great game plan from, 20-yard line out, but inside the red zone, it could be better. And having somebody like Hurd
and Jennings
on one-on-one balls, and what I would really like to see is Jennings taking the wildcat snap with George Kittle as the extra lineman, Hurd and Deebo in the backfield. That's what I want to see.
You designed the play right there. I love it. Wildcat Jennings. I'm going left.
What are you going to do?
You're going to get ran over. I mean, you're running. Go to your left. You go right towards Trent Williams, of course. You got George over there as well. Laken Tomlinson, who's no slouch himself. Yeah. I'm talking bodies are going to go down. That could be interesting.
I love Jimmy G, but I mean, I'd like to see some creativity. I think our red zone play could be a little bit better. And if it does, then I think we win the Super Bowl
easily
this year, to be honest.
And Kyle's already looked at all these options. And actually, I think he didn't have the weaponry he needed last year. Right. He did back off on some plays. And people think it was because of Jimmy. I don't know that it was that so much as it was the options available to Kyle, and he knew what would work and what would not work. And you mentioned it just a little while ago yourself. You said he would tell wide receivers, if you do this, this, and this, you've got 40 yards of open space. And George Kittle loves to repeat that play, that he got exactly 40 yards. I said, that's scary genius. But, yeah, the red zone's got to improve, though.
So in terms of, the guys that have yak ability like we're talking about, there was something that I read about Brandon Ayuk this past season at Arizona State. He had the worst depth of passes caught in the entire Division I league, but he still had almost 1,200 yards. What does that say about him?
That tells the whole story. And Coach Herman Edwards said something about that too. He says, the reason why he didn't shine the year before is because we had a freshman quarterback, and that same freshman quarterback was there last year, and he's not that good. So Ayuk was getting all his on his own merits. I mean, that guy's out there killing people. And like you say, we got another yak master. So him and Deebo in the same team at the same time. Kyle Shanahan's going to go nuts with some of the options and plays he can do.
It's going to be fun to watch. Ooh. I think last year was fun, but I think we're going to be in for a treat this season. So
it's almost guaranteed. Kev, let's wrap this up, man, with a big boom. Are you ready for the big scream?
Yes, sir.
3, 2, 1.
Niners! For the Ronbo.
Great stuff, Kev.
Hey, Ronbo, before we get off, I just want to say, as a white moderate conservative, I just want to say that it is imperative and it is our job to start educating the people around us of what's going on in this country. It's not okay. I want everybody to know in the black community that I believe Black Lives Matter. And if you're not talking to somebody about it, then you're being silent about it. It's a problem. You're part of the problem too. So I think it's just very important to go out there and support your brothers and sisters. Because we're all brothers and sisters in Christ. So that's what I firmly believe, and I wish everybody that they just can get themselves educated on what's really important. So that's what I wanted to say that before we got off, Ronbo. So
hey, Kev, I second that emotion. I feel your sincerity on that too. Great stuff, man. Thanks, Kev. Appreciate talking to you. I've been meaning to line you up for a while too. It was worth it. We'll see you again soon. I'll see you online and everywhere else. I always see you all the time. Well, fam, we're going to get together soon as we always do. God knows what's going to happen next as far as the 49ers are concerned, and we'll be getting all over that. So keep that app ready for that shout out there. Come on, let's talk some 49ers football. Hey, before you go, hey, don't forget to hit the like. I'll never forget to ask you to hit that like. Hit that like. And I'll see you very soon. Count man down.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Did I mention don't forget to hit subscribe?
Oh, this is crazy mother.